But let's start off up here. So I just want to say this. When we get lots of court cards, and I get asked a lot from other people that are learning the tarot and stuff, like, what does it mean? Because court cards can be very difficult for people to interpret. When I read, especially when I'm doing the generals, I will read the energies as your energy. Even if you're dealing with a fire sign, an earth sign, or air sign, we've got all of them here, right? It can, if you're going literally, and I don't believe the signs own the cards. They do not. This does not have to just be an earth sign or even a Virgo. It can be anyone. But when you get that, either even if you're dealing with someone of that element or someone who embodies that, I kind of feel like we take on some of that energy. So it will express in us, right? So if I was dealing with a King of Pentacles, then I might come up as the Queen of Pentacles, even though technically I'm an air sign, Aquarius sun, right? But we have all the elements in our chart. So it's how we deal with them. Now, it doesn't always have to be other people. I do always read them as energies of people. Think about it this way. This might be you. The first hit that I got from seeing 3 court cards come up like this was, it feels like you've been everyone but yourself. Because think about it, there aren't any cups court cards coming up. We have earth, we have fire, we have air. So it's like almost like you've done everything except be yourself. Think about that for a moment. So that's the job of an intuitive reader, to go with what the energy is saying, the combination of the lot. Never doesn't matter what any textbook or tarot book says about the cards. So I just wanted to tell you that because I kind of feel that with yours. So Knight of Pentacles, this is the underlying energy. This is what you're coming into July with. This is kind of like the undercurrent of everything that's going on, where you're going, what you're doing, the fuel in your engine, as it was, what's spurring you on. So this is, look at her. She's very diligently taking notes, making a plan. Everyone always says it. The Knight of Pentacles is the slowest moving knight. But why? Because the Knight of Pentacles is trying to do something physical. It's the physical worker. Earth is all about our physical reality, things that we're working on. This could be something that we're studying with the Knight of Pentacles. I do see that more as the page though. But it is about having a plan and going forward. Now, sometimes the Knight of Pentacles can go unnecessarily slowly because she wants a perfect plan. I'm not going to do this unless I have a perfect plan, unless I know that, I'm going to get something out of this. I need a guarantee. Now, there aren't any guarantees. Even when you get a written guarantee signed, it's easy to break that, right? That's why we have contract law. So think about that. So she can go unnecessarily slowly. So what are you considering? Now, the other thing is, it might be that you're trying something new. You're trying something new. And so it's perfectly natural to stumble. For going in a different area, a new relationship, a new job, investigating or looking at something new in our lives, it makes sense to go slowly, right? I am seeing with this and the Ace of Wands, there could be a level of research, but about what you get out of it, not how you do it. I think it's more about what you get out of this. That's a key question here. And we've got her making notes, making a plan, trying to figure out where she goes. But we've also got the Two of Pentacles. And the Two of Pentacles, it's about weighing up the pros and cons. So again, I'm getting that sense of, it's not decision making, because I think that the decision making is there with the Knight of Swords coming up as the past or the foundation. This is the thought process is here. You've done that. Now it's how you implement that in your day-to-day, in your reality. And that's what the Two of Pentacles is. It's our day-to-day, making day-to-day decisions. This could be a very spiritual reading. I'm just going to say that for you in the sense of figuring out what you believe, right? And then implementing that. If you have a belief system, so say you believe in a religion, or say you believe in the law of attraction, whatever it is, whatever beliefs they're individual to you, so whatever you believe, or what you might have changed your beliefs around love. But whatever we believe, they dictate our actions. That's what I think belief is important. But in terms of if we believe it, then we act that way. That's where I think belief comes in. So with this, it's like you're weighing up the pros and cons, trying to figure out, well, do I want this? Is this going to work out? What is it that you're trying to work out? What is it? Is it that, what you get out of it? How much you have to give to it? There's something here around that. But I like it when you come into a month with earth energy like that, you are weighing up. It's very grounded energy. It's very much focused on the physical reality. Now, the other thing with the Two of Pentacles, though, is you may be juggling a lot, considering your options around 2 relationships, 2 jobs, whatever it is, 2 courses that you want to study, or 2 paths, whatever's available to you. That kind of urges us to take a step back and look at the bigger picture, because we can become so detail oriented, especially with the Knight of Pentacles coming up, that we kind of miss the big picture of why we wanted to do this in the first place, right? That's key with the Knight of Swords coming up as a past energy. Interesting that you have 2 knights. So you're trying, I like this because the Knight of Swords, the knights always push forward. They always push forward. And I kind of think like in your mind, this went a little faster than it is going. Because the Knight of Pentacles is the slowest. The Knight of Swords for me is the fastest moving knight. He gets an idea in his head. He figures out some truth and he's going to go charging in and speak it, say his words. So what is it that you've been thinking? What have you figured out? His actions are all based on his belief system, on what he knows to be true, on his cause, whatever his thoughts are. But I think it went faster in your mind than it did the reality of what's going on right now. Because it's missing a spark. Don't worry, that's coming in. That's July for you, where that spark comes in. You know, this might be where that seems like a good idea. You know, oh, it'd be a good idea if I can do this job and this job, or if I started dating this person, whatever. This is the idea of it was great. This could be idealistic, actually, I think, with the Knight of Swords coming up. But now you're trying to figure out, well, how does that work in the day-to-day? How does that work in the day-to-day? We have the King of Wands right at the center of this reading. The heart of the reading is what everything revolves around, or what the focus is on. If this is a work reading for you, then think about it. You have a plan of how to make that work, whether it's a job, a business, you're an actor, an actress, a writer, a singer, whatever it is that you do, right? This is the idea that you have. Now you're trying to do it. You're juggling a lot of balls or pentacles to do this. But then the idea around that is to be seen, is to be noticed, is to be recognized, because that's the King of Wands. I always see the King and Queen of Wands as the celebrities. They're very comfortable in the spotlight. So that's one interpretation of when we get the court cards across the top. But another one is, let's have a look at him. So he's the Shark King in this deck. And he has lots of energy. He has lots of energy. And he's, you know, he's like the sharks. They're making sure that their territory is safe and, you know, protecting the boundaries. And he's out there. And his main energy in this deck is that of action, that he has this boundless energy to do so much. So are some of you missing the energy? That's why you're maybe going so slowly, because the energy is not there to do it. I would say with the focus here on the King of Wands, the best path to kind of follow in this situation is to look at what inspires you. Yes, that might look good on paper. Yes, you know, between what looks good on paper and what is physically available to you in front of you in terms of the person, the job, whatever, right? Is the King of Wands. And he's focused on, well, am I passionate about this? Does this inspire me? Because when this guy is inspired or passionate, or he looks to create something, he's going to just go for it. He will figure out a way. That's why this is the card of the entrepreneur, that, you know, the one that has the startups, or he's fabulous. He is absolutely fabulous. Now, if you're dealing with someone like this, with the King of Wands, the King and Queen of Wands, they are too attractive for their own good, if there is any such thing. Why do I say that? It's because, you know, we can't take our eyes off them. They're so amazing and they're so beautiful and so attractive. Doesn't matter physically. Something about the energy. Don't forget, wands is the energy that we put out into the world. So they're mesmerizing almost. So if we're dealing with someone like that, they almost seem too good. Like, you know, we're just like, wow, this person's too good for me. No one's too good for you, by the way. Just a quick little thing there. That's for them to decide what they want. But we can have that, even if we go for it. And I would just hope that you would. You've got a lot of wands coming up. So that's action here. But you have a plan. You're implementing that. It's either to where you can be noticed more, or, you know, to raise your status, raise how you're seen, or, you know, that's the advice of how to do it. You're trying to do it like 2 knights at the moment. Maybe it's saying do it like the king, which he just does it. He's very much like the emperor energy. This is what I want. I'm going to go make it happen. But I kind of feel like what's been missing between these two, especially with him, there is this, the spark. What gets you excited? What inspires you? And trust me, I've had many of people, they come to me and they say, you know, they want to know which career. This is one of the questions I've been asked for several times, and I always have to have a little talk with people that ask this, is how can I be successful? Now, first of all, successful, and he is successful, it's a very personal thing. It's not an there's not an objective personal, there's only a subjective personal. Successful. So think about What is success to you? For some people, it's $1 million in the bank. For others, it's the status that comes with it, to be seen, you know, a certain way. For others, it's that I'm successful when I get to get up and work whenever I want and go to bed whenever I want. Like, you know, the autonomy. So we all have our own idea of what successful is. But these looks like shoulds. This is what I want. That's the difference. And I kind of feel like you will always be more successful when you want it. And, you know, with the Knight of Swords coming up here, you may have had an amazing conversation with someone. And you're like, yeah, you know, on paper, I should like this person. They're very attractive. But you kind of don't know how they fit into your life yet. So that's what's kind of going on when you come into it. But this is the key to everything. The Ace of Wands says, are you inspired? Are you excited? Are you enthusiastic? What kind of lights you up? Because this is the spark. This is the initial spark. It's the beginning of that cycle, the Ace of Wands. And it's something that a lot of readers, we say about our readings, but it applies to everything in life. Don't try to make it fit if it doesn't fit, right? You'll know if it's your message. You'll know if it's your person. You'll know if it's your job. Because that spark that comes up within us, that, wow, I want this. I want this, you know, that it's desire, it's passion for it. Or I'm looking to create something. This is that light, looks like a light bulb as well, right? Even though that's usually swords, but it is that. But the light bulb moment from your heart, that passion. So you want to start something, and July is a very good time for you to start something, to create something. Makes sense. You know, Cancer is your 5th house, Pisces. So what is it that you're looking to start? Looking to date someone new, looking to start a new project, a hobby, a new job. Or, you know, it could be long term. Maybe you've just got that spark right now, but you don't know where to take it or what to do with it. So once you acknowledge that, yes, I want to do this, not the shoulds, not the, you know, this is the could, this is what I want. Where do you go with that? Well, you got the 10 of Cups coming up. And I say this all the time anyway. That is the only way to get your happily ever after, or that the heart's contentment, is to begin like that. To begin like that. Do what you love what you do. So when we get to the 10 of Cups, yes, this is the happily ever after, but it's more about how does it feel? Whatever you've envisioned, this has sparked within you. How do you envision that going? And not just a thought, not just a plan, which is, I think you're being ultra practical here. It's the dream, right? How does it feel? Come on, Pisces. How does it feel? How does it feel? Whether it's when you are the King of Wands or when you have the King of Wands, or, you know, that could be a boss. I mean, let me see it another way. You could be having conversations with, because them two look like they're facing off, having a conversation. I'm just going to say this, guys, for someone else. I don't know who this is for, but it's very specific and it came through like that. It's almost like, you know, when you're in the playground and when you like the little boy fancies the girl the other way around, whichever. And so he goes and like pulls her pigtails and stuff and is a bit mean to her, but it's only because he likes her. Some of that's coming through with this. That either you like someone and it hasn't come across, or they like you. Because the practical stuff's a bit amiss. But even at work, right? Maybe you've faced off against a boss, because then the King of Wands can be a boss. But it's asking you to get into that heart space, which I think is something lacking. These two don't do that. But this energy does. Wands does. It's I always say you can't create. You can't really create from your mind. It's your heart that gives you that intuitive push or whatever. Which is why I always encourage people that don't do things because of the result or trying to manipulate an outcome, because it won't work. It won't work in the long term. Even if that, say you've got a business and what your customers want. But if you hate that, if you absolutely hate and you can't find a way to love what people are asking you for, there's no point doing it, because you'll just end up miserable and you won't be able to manifest your happily ever after. This is about knowing how it feels. Now, your advice is great. We're moving towards this. You have an idea of what you'd like to be or how you'd like to feel. You have this spark, which is asking you to act on it. But how can you tend to that new spark, that new muse-like energy that's coming in, if you're still tending to the old fires? Now, the 9 of Wands, I kind of feel like you don't have the energy. Some of you, I'm going to say this, for whatever reason, maybe you've been overworked, maybe you're recovering from something, whatever it is. You have some great plans and how to create them and what to do with them. But especially with that, you might be taking on too much. But, you know, the energy might be lacking. But that's changing in July. The energy levels are changing, especially with that Ace of Wands. But I really do feel with that 9 of Wands, it's saying, let's wrap up the old shit then, right? Let's wrap up this. If If I've got something new that I want to fight for, want to go for, that I want to talk about, communicate about, get more information about, then I can't keep, there's something that had your attention before. Old stories, old projects, old relationships, whatever. Because you're tired. The Nine of Wands is fatigue, it's tiredness. Yes, it shows endurance. Yes, it shows tenacity to stick with something and to see it through to the end. But it's asking for you to wrap that up, because that was a lot of, that does take a lot of action. That's usually the wounded soldier who's been through the wars, but he still stood there at his post. But it feels like something new is calling to you. Right, let's get you some clarifiers. The Emperor is that. Look at that. King of Wands, the Emperor. Very similar energies. Very fiery. But the Emperor, he's going to do things his own way. He's going to do things his own way. I will say this, with the Knight of Swords, sometimes with the Knight of Swords, it can be like talk is cheap, unless you're actually acting on what the things that you're talking about. But that's at some point. First, we must talk about it. We must have it as an idea. We must flesh out what we envision, the vision that we have for what we want to do, right? To get the information that we need, to have the conversations that we need. But I like it, whatever it is. You might have been planning this for a long time. Knight of Swords can, the past, it can be last week, last month, last year. It doesn't really matter. But there's this energy of, well, how can I build it now? How can I build it now? And that's the first major arcana card that's come up. So it's very much about the moves that you're pulling out, Pisces, what it is that you want to do. And some of you have just been stuck doing this because you've not known, you've not had a new spark for such a long time. You've been trying to make it work. I get that. You've been juggling stuff. You've been talking about stuff. Now it's time to step up, though, with the King of Wands. To really go for it, to really build this, what it is. And the Emperor says the same thing. This is sovereignty. But I kind of get the sense it's about doing things in a different way, because that's the thing with the Emperor. He's always done things a certain way. But when we keep doing things the same way, we're not open to new ideas. And that is a new idea. That is something new that inspires you. If you keep doing what you did, you're going to keep getting what you got. That is bottom line. But it's still about, you can bring that sovereignty, that control. The Emperor is all about control, bringing order to a situation. This is what I want. Someone is in charge when the Emperor shows up. So it's kind of saying to you guys are in charge of your spark. I want to say this as well. Some of you, I'm getting the idea of like, if you have an idea for like a video game or an app or a book or a TV show or anything creative, and Pisces is a very creative sign, whatever it is like that, this might be that, you can get someone's attention with it. I don't know, a producer of such stuff or an agent or something like that. It can be, that's a very specific message, I know, and I don't usually do those ones, but if I see it, I will say it. But yeah, you must take it out there. It can't be, because with this energy, this can be, we're over contemplating what, what's the plan, what's the guarantee, what's going to happen out of that. Sometimes you don't know until you get out there and talk to someone. So first of all, look at these pages. Aren't they so amazing? They're little awestruck faces. They say everything to me. Whatever it is, whatever you've been through. And sometimes we've gone through the wars with, well, not sometimes, most of the time, we've gone through the wars with the Nine of Wands. We've gone through the wars, but it hasn't been in vain. Sometimes we can have this tendency to just write everything off, throw the baby out with the bathwater, right? That, no, this is bullshit. I want out of it. It's done. But you learned something from this. I'm guessing you have a very unique skill set with that Knight of Swords sat above it and this sat here. So either now in relationships how to be, and it's not specific at all this. It's not relating to any one area. I kind of feel with the Emperor coming up especially, it's where you apply this. Where do you want to apply it? Where do you want to take action? What are you looking to progress? Where does your empire need some kind of attention? So whatever you got out of this situation, this is what you got out of it. So the Page of Pentacles is that nugget. If you have a look, that one pentacle there, and look at her little face. She's so awestruck, like, wow, I got this. Now, it may not seem like much to anyone else, but it's very valuable to you. And it's something that can be built into long-term security or stability. I see the Page of Pentacles as, I know you're tired, I know you're exhausted, and you might still have to, wrap this up, because we're at 9 and it's being wrapped up. And so feels like an overlap with what the advice is, wrap that up, but we're already getting a spark, an idea for something new. It's saying that you don't have to give a lot to the other one. It might be that you want to study something new with that Knight of Pentacles and Page of Pentacles, but it can also say, it's that deposit for something. It's the website that you set up. It's the token that denotes something bigger. The engagement ring, that is the symbol of the upcoming wedded nuptials, the marriage, right? That's coming up, or a contract for a home. But it's something small, but it's that first brick of the foundation. I always see with the Page of Pentacles, because you see the potential in it. It may be small. It says you don't have to do something big. You don't have to do something big. But I think you learned all of that through everything that you went through. And so you have the required skills, knowledge, inspiration, whatever. Some of you just, I think you feel like you don't have the energy for it. That will change. So have a look at the future. I love this. You got the Ten of Cups, which is the happily ever after, of course, going forward. So going forward, so you're reacting to what is. Now, the thing with reacting to what is, when we're very focused, and you know, I'm all about being mindful, and you know, the present is the point of power. That's great. However, if you look around you and take that as this is my reality and this is how it will always be, so you don't just accept it, but you think it's bullshit and it's always going to be this way, you do yourselves a disservice, especially a dreamer sign like you, Pisces. So it's all about, all right, so this is what my reality is right now. How do I change it? What out of that inspires me to do something new? What can I tweak? What can I change? You know, I'm not always going to be here, because it's about feeling whatever it is that you want to feel. So that house that you want is going to make you feel a certain way. That relationship that you want it because it's going to make you feel a certain way. But it's about tapping into that first. The Page of Cups says that too. Let's get back to the feelings. Let's get back to the emotions. And have a look at his little face, how he looks at the little fish, awestruck. A new emotion. Let's shift our focus to the emotional aspect of how you want to feel, on that little lovely feeling that's there. Because that little emotion, that little spark, you've got a spark here, now you've got this little budding emotion here. The fish can't live in the cup. It needs to be nurtured. It needs to be taken care of. It needs to be grown. It needs more space, right? But only by noticing it. If he just ignores it in the cup, that poor little fishy is not going to last very long. So it's a budding emotion. And that budding emotion, if you focus on it, it can become this. Something much bigger. That is your true heart's desire. I like this. I like your reading, because it very much is, I think you haven't known what to do with this. You might have had an idea, you know, and your physical, it's just been even though there's no like moon or something, it feels confusing. It feels confusing in that I don't know what to do with it. I'm trying. I'm not saying you're not trying. You're bloody trying with juggling that Two of Pentacles, trying to make things work. But there is a clarity that comes in with the Emperor and the Ace of Wands and with the King of Wands. However you choose to use their energies, right? Whether it's to get more attention, whether it's to take action.